Here's a shocking stat. Up to 80% of people will experience low back pain in their lifetimes. This means there's a good chance you're experiencing it right now, or you will sometime in the future. Now, one of the best ways to relieve low back pain, especially after we work out and we get stiffness in our backs, is to do some self-myofascial release, or more commonly referred to as foam rolling. But the problem is most people don't know how to foam roll properly. They roll the wrong areas, they don't hold the positions long enough. So what I want to do in today's video is completely demystify this and show you exactly how to foam roll your back to release muscle tension, to feel amazing, and to recover faster. And to do this, I invited guest expert Mike Mallory, the founder and CEO of RAD Roller, into our studio. And today, Mike runs me through a full routine to release my low back. And what's amazing about that is we actually don't even start with the low back, we start with some of the surrounding muscles. So my promise is you stick with me in this video, you're gonna learn how to release your low back properly using some simple tools that you have at home already at your disposal. And we filmed a broader series to help target all different areas of your body. Certainly your back, but also to release your legs, to improve your posture. So stay tuned on the channel for a lot more videos of Mike from RAD Roller. Let's hop into the studio, let's roll out the low back, and I'll show you how to do it properly. Mike, take it away. What's going on when it comes to low back pain and like how do we start on this whole process?
Well, one of the things with low back pain that you really want to think about is, we don't want to work on pain specifically. We want to work around it. So thinking about the low back, you've got the thoracic spine that's above the low back, you've got the hips that are below the low back, and really those are the areas that are supposed to be moving, super mobile. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to go through the thoracic spine, we're going to go through the hips, and then we're going to go through the psoas as a kind of bonus.
That sounds great, and I think that's a key point. It's like oftentimes when we have pain in an area, we think that's the problem. It's like working upstream and downstream. So we're starting with the thoracic spine, right? Let's get into it. What do we use first?
So whatever you have at home, I would say, start wherever you are. We've got the axle here, so we can use that. If you have a smaller foam roller, or even, a peanut style, this is the RAD Roller, I would say use that.
Okay, so what do we want to start with here?
Why don't we start with the basics? Let's just go with the kind of standard-ish foam roller.
And as I get on this, this looks like a standard foam roller, but I noticed a couple differences. I noticed some ridges and I know this recess. So what's the deal? And people at home who are thinking about picking a foam roller, is there one better than another?
Well, we'd like to think so. So the reason why this is created like this is basically you've got a big area here. You'll actually see it in all our tools. This is a spinal recess, and this is meant to protect the spinous process on the back. So that's the little bones that stick out of your back. We want to stay away from that. We do not want to roll on bone, so that's why we have this ridge. And the secondary reason, really the reason why this is so big, is that so you can fit your legs in at the same time.
Okay.
So why don't we start on this?
Sounds good.
Let's just do some basics on the thoracic spine.
So where do you want me to put this?
Let's go right behind your shoulder blades.
Okay.
And this will kind of allow me to demonstrate something too. So when you have a full-size foam roller, it's a little hard to get extension in the very upper back. We're talking right below your neck. So what I'd like you to do, Anthony, is go ahead and relax. I'm going to stick this block right behind your head.
That feels really good.
I want to let your shoulders relax. I want you to breathe. And I want you to really think about kind of sinking in down here. So really what you want to do is let your back arch over this foam roller. What we're trying to do is we're trying to open up these joints of the spine.
I intuitively kind of decided to hug myself to open the shoulder blades. Is that a good idea as I'm working in this upper back region?
You can. So in general, it's good to try both. So go ahead and let your arms relax. And if you wanted to go a little more intense, most people will not have this shoulder mobility. I suspect you do, but you can raise your arms up over your head as well.
So up over towards this way?
Yeah.
Got it. I feel like one thing I find as I'm doing this is my low back wants to lift off, so I'm really kind of focusing on anchoring and sinking back down as I come up here.
Totally.
It feels really good.
You want to relax, you want to breathe, and if you're feeling any pain during this, you want to calm down or essentially lessen the movement.
Okay. Now I see a lot of people when they get in these foam rollers for rolling their back, I'm going to move this for a second. They just go like this. They're just flying like this and
Is that good, or should I be sitting in like more of an area and pinning? Like, what do you recommend? And actually, I want this back because this feels so good.
So we use these. It kind of depends on the purpose of what you're doing. You know, if you're trying to recover, if you're using light pressure, you can go back and forth. You know, if your back is fried, definitely do that. However, you know, when we're working on stiffer tools that add more pressure, we want to just hang out on them. And the reason is because we need the relaxation. Unless you get that spine and the muscles around it to relax, you won't actually get that opening in the individual joints.
Okay, so my thoracic spine, this kind of section in my thorax, we're kind of working this between my shoulder blades. And I'm doing this routine before we get to like the low back. Like, how long do I stay here? And I'm just kind of playing with some motions that feel good right now. Like, what would you recommend people at home who want to kind of follow along this routine or do it after they watch this video?
I would recommend about 2 minutes, and that's the whole spine. So ideally you want to stop all the way through the thoracic spine, and the thoracic spine goes from the base of the neck to the bottom of the rib cage. So all those joints have ribs attached to them.
Yep.
And because they have this extra stability, they can actually move more because they have more support.
Yep.
So the low back is not meant to move where the thoracic spine is. So just for frame of reference, I'd like you to try this tool.
Sounds good.
The reason why we like these little, you know, peanut style rollers, this is the RAD Roller, is because they fit in between the shoulder blades. You know, and you have this spot up here in the back where it's quite difficult to actually fit a foam roller in between them, but you almost always need extension right here. You know, for any desk worker or any effectively modern person, kind of needs this exercise.
Okay.
Do you want to try this right now and see the difference?
So we're working the thoracic spine.
Yep.
I'm coming down slowly, and it's there. It's right in the middle. That's nice.
So these have a lot more pressure, and I want you to just relax on this one. Really let your shoulder blades sink. You can maintain the hug, you can relax the hug. But really, you know, we want to get 30 to 60 seconds in each spot. And what you'll find is as you go through your spine, you might actually have segments that are a little tighter than others, and it's usually pretty easy to find.
Yep, I'm feeling it. And I think a couple things that are really standing out for me is like, one is the actual conscious act of using the foam roller to then allow me to relax around it. Because I feel like I'm actually just training my nervous system to say, it's okay. Those tense areas can just soften a little bit. And it's slower, and I'm gradually inching down with these, and it feels wonderful. So honestly, I already feel like my thoracic spine is a lot more open from this. And so where do we go from here once we've played around in this area for a couple minutes?
We usually want to kind of take stock, sit back up, feel how your thoracic spine feels, because, you know, we want that awareness, we want the movement. You know, I'm sure you're feeling a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to stay upright.
It's easier for me to stay upright here, and I notice when I'm spending a lot of time sitting on the desk, my T-spine is kind of crunching down, so I can see how this would create dynamics lower down in the low back, and if we ignore this and just roll our low back, like, we're missing the point.
Yeah, so what you're really doing there, you're opening up the thoracic spine so it can take all this rotational movement, and your low back doesn't have to, so there's no twisting in those discs anymore.
Okay.
That being said, let's move on to the glutes.
Sounds good. So what tool do we want to use for glutes? We got a lot of options here.
Let's use, so, you know, anybody at home, you can use a standard foam roller for this. I like to use a little smaller one.
Okay.
The Helix is over there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a little broader surface area than a ball, and I like that because people have tight hips.
Yeah.
It can be a little discomforting in there. And we want to stay away from pain, of course, so we're just going to go off at a 45 degrees, and I'll have you just sit on that.
Okay, sounds good. Yep. I got a good spot right here. And I'm feeling like as I pin, just relaxing around it. It's like this one point of pressure that I'm trying to melt on both sides around it. And I can use my hand to take pressure on or off, but it's sensitive for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the secondary functions of muscles is their pumps. You know, they pump lymph through them. And essentially, if you have a traffic jam in that lymph, it's becoming stagnant. You know, it's not the cool mountain stream, it's the swampy pond, so to speak. So, you know, what we're doing is we're pressurizing that tissue, which is creating a low pressure zone there. And then the fluid will actually flow back into it once you're done.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pushing things out, and then it forms almost like this vacuum or suction that you get new, fresh blood, lymph, all the stuff flows back into it. That's great.
Totally. So again, you know, this is a 30 to 60 second type of thing.
Yeah, and I'm feeling it. And I'm like, as everyone, if you were watching subtly what I'm doing, I'm like slowly inching my way down until I find an area that's a little more hot, relaxing into it, doing slight twists. It's almost like these micro movements to find that right spot is what it's all about. Because I'm like in an area, but I'm just slight twist, I got a spot, right? Relax into it, breathe and soften. So it's like, what I'm realizing here is this is such a practice of checking in with the body and subtle movements. And that's what makes it so specific to my body right now.
And I'm sure this is intuitive to you, but most people don't actually explore their whole hip capsule. Yeah. You know, your hip is a big area, and it stretches from the front all the way around to the sacrum. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you can rotate your body either way and find a new spot, essentially. And really what we're looking at is like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 being, you know, extremely painful, 0 being nothing.
I'm gonna say this, I've only done this for maybe like 1 to 2 minutes. My glute feels like 70% better than when it started already. It's like, it just feels really, really open and good. And so in theory, I do both sides, but let's carry on with the routine. So someone now, let's say they do T-spine, they do glutes on both sides. Mm-hmm. Keep on walking us through what would be next.
So we took care of what was above, that's the T-spine. We took care of what was below, that's the hips. Mm-hmm. Now, as kind of a bonus, you know, we'll take care of what's in front.
Okay.
So that's the hip flexors.
Yep.
AKA the Psoas.
So on screen, I want to actually put up what a psoas is so people can see. These are these strong hip flexors that attach to that low back and to the femur and allow us to do this motion right here. Very powerful for running and walking, but it's also the shortened position that we're in when we're driving our cars and sitting, and it's like that thing gets so tight and it pulls on the low back, right?
Totally. Yeah, and what happens is you know, you really, the psoas attach, you know, all the way up high in the lumbar spine, very deep. And what happens is it can kind of crank you over. Mm-hmm. So releasing that, it just provides a little bit of movement to the spine and essentially realigns the discs.
Okay, so we have our block, and like what's unique about yours that I love is it has all these places where the balls can go on, but you could use a yoga block, a stack of books or something at home if you don't have anything, but obviously investing in quality tools makes this a lot more fun and easy. Show me what I'm doing with this.
So what spot he's gonna find is essentially you've got these hip bones here, you know, the ASIS for anyone who knows their anatomy. You wanna go 1 inch in and 1 inch down. Mm-hmm. You can use a RAD roller like this. I like this just because it's a little bigger surface area with 2 balls, or you can use a single one. Mm-hmm. But, you know, again, we're sinking into our gut here.
So I'm feeling my hip bone. I'm gonna go 1 inch over 1 inch down, so right in this pocket here. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna come right on here.
And I want you to maintain pressure on your knees and your hands and just very slowly sink into that.
Yeah, I feel that. It's a powerful experience to really relax into that, the belly, and just soften. I'm on it though, I feel it.
Yeah. So we're kind of working on the edge of the hip flexors here, the part that really attaches to the pelvis. And by loosening this up, it affects your low back, it affects your hip, and it affects your leg. Mm-hmm.
I'm on it, and I'm kind of finding those edges and wiggling my hips. Like these micro movements, I think sometimes help me find the little subtle points on that. Oh, yeah.
Totally. And we're only working on, you know, a very small area. You really want to, your pelvis is essentially a bowl, and you want to get to the inside of that bowl. So you're almost pressuring the outside of you're pressuring towards the outside.
Mm-hmm. And if it's too intense, like I can just kind of come up a little more in my hands and bring it off and then sink back in. So it's like just finding a position that's really good. Now for the psoas, one thing I'm finding is like my left hip, I'm working my left psoas, and this is like more like on the floor. My right hip is a little braced up. It's kind of like Spider-Man climbing a wall kind of position. Seems to feel pretty good, but okay, great. So I would hit this side, and then I imagine I'd hit the other side.
Switch to the other
and
side.
And so I'll do that as we talk a little bit more through, and you can kind of like wrap up this routine or kind of give us some clarity on like, where do I go from here? Or this might be it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing with low back pain, it's something like 85% of people will deal with a serious episode of low back pain in their life. The one thing I would say is, first of all, don't panic. There are a ton of options. A lot of back pain actually just goes away in 6 weeks. That being said, if you have back pain, I think you'd like to know the answer of why that's happening. So you can explore some things like this. We call it surrounding the dragon. You want to work on all these things around it that are completely safe to do without kind of messing with the low back itself, which really is just a column. It supports the spine. It does not rotate very much. We just want to free up the areas around it so we can strengthen, stabilize, get movement, and get on with your life.
I just want to assess right now. Like I feel open, and my low back feels so much more mobile to like move freely. I was sitting quite a bit this morning. Like that's cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'm an inch taller when I do this hip flexor stuff.
I do too. I feel like my posture is like, when I'm open, my posture is just naturally better. I feel like I'm just sitting here and like, wow, everything's open. So in recap, we worked on the thoracic spine. Mm-hmm. You can use a traditional foam roller, but ideally, and a better one, like you guys have, axle that's like bigger. We have small RAD rollers. And these are better than even just like a lacrosse ball, because they have a little bit of sponginess to them. So these are really good working up the T-spine. So we worked the thoracic spine, then we got into those glutes each side for a couple minutes, and then we got into the psoas by elevating and getting deep into these hip flexors. So in total, this is like, maybe a 10-minute routine that someone can flow through before a workout, as a work break, after sitting for prolonged periods of time. It's awesome.
Yeah, Netflix time.
Netflix time, right?
Stick them on the ground. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah, really
Easy
good
stuff. This is like very 101 back pain maintenance. You can do this even if you don't have back pain. It's going to be helpful.
Really good. And of course, if people are looking to get high quality tools and you want to get a whole kit, like RAD Roller, you guys anatomically designed all this stuff to work really well with the body, have the right amount of density, and just still be affordable, great way. And I'll say this, like, sometimes in life when you want to really work on improving something, like body pain is a significant thing, just investing in a kit of like higher quality than average stuff just makes you more motivated to do it. So radroller.com, if you're interested in checking out some of those, there's a promo code that we have, FitFamily, that'll give you a nice discount on any of these tools. And also you can check the links below. It's linked to our store where we feature some of these products as well, if you'd like to upgrade your myofascial tool and foam rolling game. So Mike, thank you for this one. We're going to shoot a series of videos on the channel that's going to go through many areas. We'll go through some neck pain, ways to use foam rollers and myofascial for warming up, for even addressing just other important areas of the body. I think this is an overlooked aspect of fitness and recovery, and we're so glad to have Mike in studio. So more videos coming your way. Thanks for tuning in. And if you actually try this, please comment below and let us know what areas of your body are feeling tight, what opened up for you. And if you have any other questions you want to talk about releasing low back pain, or ask Mike a question or ask me, hit us in the comments below. So grateful you're here today. Hope you have an amazing day. And you can check out the links in the description for RAD Roller as well as the discount code. We'll see you very soon.